Defining rare. G'day and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Kathy and this is where I talk about my plants and all my other pet hobbies. Today I wanted to talk about defining the meaning of rare. I have been thinking about this quite a bit lately and I decided to share with you my 2 cents worth, so to speak. I know I have spoken about rare before in a previous video, and for anyone who's interested, I will link it somewhere up here. But today I wanted to talk about defining the term and why I feel it is important that we use it accurately, not the way it is currently used in the plant community. Some people might say I'm being pedantic, and I can agree with that to some degree, but I do feel that there are compelling reasons why we should use words accurately. Words have power, they have meaning. That is how we communicate, is through words, through language. And if we assign different meanings to a particular word, it can lead to confusion, to misunderstandings. That to me is one of the most important reasons why I feel it is necessary to ensure that when we use a word, we use it accurately. We use it based on its meaning. We will not be able to communicate with each other and understand each other if I have a different meaning for a particular word and you have another meaning for that word. Let's take an example. If I told you this was red, most of you would say no, it is blue. Now imagine if you said it was blue, somebody else said it was green, somebody else said it was yellow. How would we ever know what yellow means, or what red means, or what blue means? That is why we assign a common meaning to a particular word. That is not to say that words can't change in meaning over time. I understand that words do evolve, how we use words changes with time, but until then, I do feel it is imperative that we use words based on the meaning that they have. Now, I'm not a linguist. This is just my understanding of language and how we use it to communicate. So how do you define what a word means? I don't know about you, but I use dictionaries. That is how I learn what a word means. As I said, I know it can change with time, but overall, I start there. And I have looked up several dictionaries so that I can give you a definition of the term rare. Okay, now based on the Oxford Dictionary, the meaning that applies to a plant is of a thing not found in large numbers, and so of interest or value. In the Cambridge Dictionary, rare is defined as not common or frequent, very unusual. In the Collins Dictionary, rare is something that is not common and is therefore interesting or valuable. Okay, last one, Macmillan Dictionary. Not often seen or found and therefore admired or valued very much. Now, based on those definitions, which have one thing in common, and that is that it's not common. That something rare is not common, not something seen often. What it doesn't mean is I can't find it in my country, therefore it's rare. No, that's not what it means. Now let's put aside plants for the moment, just so that I can illustrate my point. Twinkies. I'm not American. I live in Australia. I have never seen a Twinkie in person, but I have seen a lot of them in TV shows. I've seen them in movies, but I've never seen one. My understanding is you can buy them pretty much anywhere in the United States, but you can't buy them here. There might be a few places, I'm sure, but generally speaking, I cannot find Twinkies in Australia. It does not make it rare though, does it? Of course not. If I told you Twinkies were rare and you're American, you'd laugh at me with good reason, because they're not rare. They're just not sold in Australia. Let's flip it. Let's talk about Vegemite. I'm sure you've heard of it. I know a lot of people hate it. I don't blame them. It is something that we can buy in any supermarket in Australia. Now, I'll ask you guys who live overseas, can you buy it? Most likely not. There might be a few places in some countries that sell it, but most countries will not sell Vegemite, will not have Vegemite to sell. It does not make Vegemite rare. Seriously. I can go out and get you hundreds of jars of it, thousands of jars of it. What was the definition again? Not common, not seen often. Not just not seen often in my country, but not seen anywhere often. We would never use the term rare for things like that, like Vegemite or Twinkies, or say Reebok shoes, for example, or I don't know, Akubra hats, which you can buy anywhere in Australia. The truth is that simply because I cannot buy it where I live does not make something rare. It really doesn't, not based on any definition. Now, as far as I'm concerned, if a plant is readily available in a particular country but not another, it does not make it rare. If a plant is grown like a weed in a particular country but not another one, it does not make it rare. Are there plants that are rare? Of course there are. But not all the plants that we are told are rare or labelled as rare. For example, the Monstera siltepecana is very readily available in Australia. You can buy it at Bunnings, our local big box store hardware store. You can buy it at any nursery. It costs maybe $15 to $20. And yet I have seen some websites in Australia label it rare. It isn't. It's wrong to call it that. This is why I object to the word being used in relation to plants that grow easily in other countries. Just because I can't buy it does not make it a rare plant. Now, I have also heard people say, well, then it's commercially rare. I don't agree with that at all. What does commercially rare even mean? It doesn't mean anything. Because let's not forget, rare still means rare, not common, not seen often. Just because I can't buy a Twinkie here doesn't make it commercially rare. It is a fiction because it isn't commercially rare in some countries. The commercial availability of a product does not determine if it is rare or not. Really, I don't think the two terms should even be connected. In some ways, I think it's even more misleading than just using the term rare. So why do I object so strenuously to the word rare being used in the plant community? Because it is inaccurate and it is misleading. As I have said before, it is a marketing ploy. As far as I'm concerned, the only reason sellers are using the term rare in the plant community is to justify the prices they are charging. It is simply a way for them to convince us, the buyers, that what we are getting is worth the price they are asking for. I'm not going to go into prices because I have already said my piece on that in a previous video. However, what I will say is that prices are still increasing exponentially to ridiculous levels. I've said it before, I saw a Hoya australis Lisa, which is a cultivar based on an Australian plant, selling in Australia for $600. A small plant. Seriously. The other day I saw on Facebook a 2-leaf cutting with one node going for over $100. It's a madness that has seized the plant community, and every opportunist is out there increasing their prices because they can. Because, hey, they will slap the word rare in there so that you think you are getting a bargain because you are getting something that other people can't. And that's why we now have more auctions for plants, which, as far as I'm concerned, is ridiculous. I personally refuse to bid on any plant that is on auction. In fact, I will not buy from a seller who sells their plants by auction. As far as I'm concerned, this is just another tactic for sellers to sell plants at ridiculous prices. It's plants we're talking about. Plants that can die on us. Plants that shouldn't be valued at such prices. Are there some that are worth more than others? Of course there are. Those that are difficult to grow, those that are difficult to propagate. Yes, but not a Siltebecana, for example, or an Australis Lisa, or a pink princess. I was told by someone recently that they bought a Pilea peperomoides because it's gone up in value. It hasn't. It has become more readily available in Australia, for example, and its value has not increased. And yet this person was unaware of that. And I think that's the problem, is a lot of people are unaware of the true value of a plant. And they are taking the word of sellers who, let's be honest, have a vested interest to maximize their profits. If a plant truly is rare, then certainly call it, label it rare, but not when it isn't. The reason I wanted to make this video to discuss the term rare is because I know that there are a lot of new plant owners out there who have just come into the plant community and just started collecting plants. And they may not be aware that sellers are using this tactic to try to justify their prices, to try to convince them that what they're buying is rare. And I just hope that people who are new to the community particularly will do their research. Don't take the word rare at face value when it comes to plants, because it is not being used accurately. It is being used to mislead people. There are some plants that are rare, yes, but don't let a seller tell you whether a plant is rare or not. Do your research. Satisfy yourself that that plant is truly rare or is worth the price that the seller wants for it. That's what I hope that people will do. So if we can't use the word rare, what should we use? I really don't know. Commercially unavailable? How about exotic? Exotic means something that is not native to your country. Plants that don't grow, for example, in Australia, that have to be imported into Australia, are exotic. That, I think, is much more accurate than rare. But I really don't know what the right term is. All I know is that it is wrong to use a word inaccurately with the deliberate intent of misleading people. It really is. Okay, well, that was my 2 cents worth. As always, you know I love to hear your opinions on the issues I've raised. And you can let me know down in the comments, or you can contact me on Instagram. As always, thank you all so very much for hanging out with me and allowing me to ramble. And if you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please do consider subscribing to my channel, as it helps my channel to grow. I hope you all have a beautiful day and a beautiful weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye.